All right, welcome back to another lesson. Today we're going to start talking about proofs a little bit. And on the module, I have put a link to a list of valid reasons. You can print this off and use it, or have a Google Doc and take notes and stuff on it. But you can use these items on the test. So let's just get in. We're going to be on page 39 of our notebooks today. Well, maybe. There we go. Okay, so here on page 39, we are going to talk about, we're going to go into proofs by starting with some algebra proofs. Okay, so you should have gone through algebra before this class. So that's what will make proofs a little bit easier. Okay, so a proof is simply made of statements and reasons justifying the statements. Okay, anytime you get into a discussion with somebody over whatever topic it may be, you are doing a verbal proof. Okay, you are making a statement and you're backing that statement up with some kind of justification. Okay, and in order for us to do this well, you need to know your valid reasons. Okay, and that list of valid reasons, let me look it up here. Is right here. Oh, let me switch. Okay, here is the list of valid reasons paper. Okay, and it goes through a ton of these. We've talked about some of them before. Some of them, like these right here, are from Algebra 1. And then these are all the reasons or justification statements that you can make. So if it's not on here, you're not going to make it. Okay. So let's get back to the notebook here. So you need to know your valid reasons. So we're just going to try 4 problems here. Let's split this paper up. To 4 sections here. There we are. Okay, so the first example that we're going to do is this problem right here. So we're going to look at solving 2x plus 5 equals 20 minus 3x. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fill out the other one right here. So we'll say minus 4, 11x plus 2 equals 80. If you are one that is still struggling a little bit with some of the algebra that we've been doing, the IXL website, actually, if you go to geometry, they have an algebra review that you can work through, and that would be a great resource for you as well. Here, we're just solving equations, so if you want to Google search or YouTube how to solve algebraic equations, there'll be plenty of walkthroughs there for you. Okay, so like I said, a proof is made up of statements and reasons. So your statements will be on the left and your reasons will be on the right. And every proof I want set up just like this. You will have a T-chart and you'll put statements on the left, reasons on the right. Okay, and the first statement and the first reason are always the same. Well, your first reason is always the same, and your first reason is given. Therefore, your first statement will be whatever the problem provides you. So in this case, they provide us 2x plus 5 equals 20 minus 3x. Okay, so that's our first statement and reason. Now, as I go through and solve this, I'm going to put a reason or a property that says I can do that statement. So like here, the first thing we might want to do is subtract 5 on both sides. So when I subtract 5, I would have 2x equals 15 minus 3x. You're not actually going to show all your work. You could if you wanted. You could put minus 5 here, minus 5 there, real small, but you don't need to show your work. And the reason I can make that subtraction, I subtract on each side, is the subtraction property of equality. Okay, it's of equality because we do it on both sides. And we'll go back here. After this problem, we'll go back to the valid list page and we will look at some of those algebra properties. Okay, so if I move my number over here, then I need to move the minus 3x to the other side. And I'm going to do that by adding 3x. So we're going to have 5x equals 15. Now I added to both sides of the equation. So that would be the addition property of equality. Okay. And then the last thing we're going to do is divide by 5 on both sides, and you get x equals 3, and that is the division property of equality. Now, is this the only way to do this proof? No, it's not. We could have started by adding 3x to both sides, or I could have subtracted 20 to both sides. So your proofs may not be the same, which is fine, but your reasonings should justify your statement. So if we go back here and look at the valid list of reasons here, a lot of these are definitions that we've talked about, definition of a right angle. That is that it equals 90 degrees, or definition of perpendicular, 2 lines that intersect at 90 degrees. You have a rotation, translation, reflection. Okay, a lot of these already on here. Okay, so let's look right here at these properties right here. Okay, so you have addition property, subtraction property, multiplication, and division property. All of these right here are adding or subtracting or multiplying or dividing things on the same side of an equal sign, okay, in an expression. When you have the addition property of equality or subtraction property of equality, multiplication property of equality, or division property of equality, anytime it says of equality, that means you're doing it to both sides of an equation. So if you were to multiply by 2 on the left and the right, that would be multiplication property of equality, okay, not multiplication property. Distributive property is when you distribute something and get rid or remove parentheses. Substitution property is when you plug one thing in for the other. And then we will get to some of these other properties later on. I encourage you to take this and look some of these up. You can just Google search them, very easy, and fill some of this stuff out. I don't think we have anything on the backside quite yet, but we will get there eventually. Okay, right here, this means parallel lines. So if you have parallel lines, alternate interior angles are congruent. So that's when we would use like just alternate interior angles for our reason. All right, going back to our notebook here. Okay, so let's look at this other one here. Again, we have statements and reasons. Okay, our first statement is what they provide us. So -4 parentheses 11x plus 2 equals 80. And don't change anything on this one. Okay, when you go from here to here, don't change anything. And that reason is given. Okay, it is provided for us. All right, so there's a couple ways I can do this one. Some of you might just say distribute that -4 in there, which is fine. That's actually the way we're going to do it. But some of you may notice I could just divide both sides by -4 because the distribution property is same as dividing. But we're going to distribute the -4. So you get -44x minus 8 equals 80. And that is the distributive property. The distributive property. Okay. Looking here, the next thing I'm going to do is subtract 8. Or sorry, add 8. So we have -44x equals 88. And I added something to both sides of the equation. So that's the addition property of equality. And here the next thing I need to do is divide both sides by -44. So x equals -2. And because I divided both sides of the equation by the same number, that is the division property of equality. Okay. So we'll do 2 more here. Maybe something a little bit, maybe those were a little bit harder. That's okay. We'll look at something a little bit different. We'll look at that one, and then let's look at this one. So we've got 2x minus 15 minus x equals 21 plus 10x. Okay. So here, again, statements and reasons. Your first statement here is what they provide. So you got 2 parentheses x minus 3 plus 2 equals -6. That is given. Okay, again, there's a lot of things we could do here. I'm going to take this one maybe a different route than you might choose. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 2 from both sides. So I have 2 parentheses x minus 3. Subtract 2 equals, so -6 minus 2 is -8. And I subtracted the same number from both sides, so that is the subtraction property of equality. Now, I could distribute this 2, which is what we did on the last problem, but for this one, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So on the left side, I get x minus 3 equals negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4, and that is the division property of equality. Okay, and then last thing I have to do is add 3. So that's x equals negative 4 plus 3 is minus 1. And I added the same number to both sides, so that's the addition property of equality. Okay, and you're done. You can always plug this back in and check it. So negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 plus 2 is minus 6. All right, moving over to our last problem here. Statements and reasons. We'll rewrite what is given unchanged. Okay, and that was given. That was provided to us right there. Okay, so here we need to combine like terms on both sides. I got 2 x's here. So I got 2x minus x would be x minus 15 equals 21 plus 10x. Now, because I subtracted, okay, we actually subtract, it's 2x minus x. We subtracted on the same side. This would be the subtraction property. Okay, not property of equality because I didn't do it on both sides of the equation. I only did it on one side. So that's the difference there. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract x from both sides. So I have minus 15 equals 21 plus 9x. That is the subtraction property of equality because I did it on both sides of the equation. Okay, if I move x to the right side, that means this 21 needs to go to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 21. And negative 15 minus 21 is negative 36 equals 9x. So again, subtraction property of equality. And to get x all alone here, I divide by 9. And negative 36 divided by 9 is negative 4 equals x. And I divide it on both sides, so that's the division property of equality. Okay, and we are done. So that is kind of an introduction to what proofs will be like. And we will keep doing some proofs here as we move forward. I'll put a practice sheet on Canvas there for you. And if you have questions, you can let me know. Thanks for watching.